Hi, this is Jason.
Hi, I'm Joe from Ben Diesel, and you're listening to the Midwest Mixtape Podcast.
Just the other night, I saw the strangest flashing lights penetrate the peaceful sky. Their eyes stood mesmerized. Smooth memes were undefined by physics, logic, space, and time. Just as soon as it arrived, it disappeared. Later on, as I flipped bottle caps at newspapers in musty stacks, men in sharp suits showed up and spoke to me through the screen.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Midwest Mixtape Podcast. I am your host, JSTN from the barn, and I'm sitting here with Ben Diesel. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Pretty swell. Thanks for having us.
Hell yeah.
On the show.
So, of course, we have you guys here for another part of this series of the Notes for Hope, so we're going to go ahead and talk about that real quick. So we're doing this for the 8th annual Notes for Hope, September 9th at 12 p.m. at the Park Hills Underground. It's $12 in advance and $10 at the door. There will be crafts outside. It's an all ages. I guess it's an all occasions event too. And you guys can see Ben Diesel, these guys here, The Doubted, Holding Ground, Skylines the Limit, At My Worst, The Stars Go Out, Degenerate and Deezyman, Juge, Y, The Party Crashers, Kings and Vagabonds, Alex Casnell and the Board of Directors, and our founder, Keith Hafner. We talked to The Stars Go Out just a minute ago, and you guys are like half of that group. So
yeah, can you believe it?
So kind of tell me like how that happened. Like you know you're working with one band and then you start the other one. Like what's the differing styles and like what was the idea behind it?
So when when The Stars Go Out started playing in St. Louis, our very first bestie band was Ben Diesel, like way back in the day, playing foobar and whatnot. And
when we had a different drummer back then.
Yeah, they had a different drummer, but we're still super good buddies and played a lot of shows. And
we eat up drummers like Spinal Tap. So
yeah,
at a point we found ourselves sans drummer, and Joey was very quick to pick up the mantle. Mm-hmm. And we've been stoked to have him ever since. And
thank you.
It's been awesome. So I'm really terrible with times and dates, but it
was 2017,
that's awesome.
Early April. Okay. It was about 48.
It was 48 degrees outside.
You got it.
We had a snowstorm coming. Yeah, we were in the middle of recording a split EP together.
Okay.
When that went down, and then I was like, "Hey, I play some drums here and there." Dabble. So yeah, so I recorded that EP with him and been buddies with him ever since.
So like how would you explain the differing style of the sound? So because I know you guys quote that it's kind of like not just pop punk but like yacht rock. I want an elaboration on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think pop punk yacht rock is just a name we gave it to kind of like differentiate, but I mean, I feel like The Stars Go Out don't necessarily play just straight pop punk either. They kind of exist in this differentiation of it. But with Ben Diesel, I think the lyrical matter is oftentimes a little bit more aloof. We tend to write about, events throughout history or aliens or just, larks. Not that Stars Go Out don't have their fair share of songs about aliens as well.
Right.
But
it's a lot of storytelling, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've asked
very unique songwriting. Yeah.
So I've asked you some of these questions already with The Stars Go Out, but this is a separate podcast, so people are gonna listen at their own paces. So I'm going to ask once again, what does mental health mean to you?
Now that I've had a chance to think about it, you know, I'm gonna stick with it. It's something I never think about, but know that I should.
It's part of the awareness.
Yeah, it is. It is part of the awareness. You know, I would say, it just have to be somewhat aware of when you need to talk to somebody, and you know, and talk to someone before you even probably think you need to. So just like you were saying on the previous podcast or next podcast, whichever way it comes out, you know, it's more important than physical health. It just, you know, it is very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think I've had a somewhat unique relationship with mental health because when I was younger, in my middle schoolish area, I suffered from anxiety pretty badly, and I went, you know, I saw a therapist. I was on multiple different medications, and strangely enough, when I started playing music live, which was when I was about 15, was when I've had my first show, it kind of just went away, and I've really not had tons of issues in that regard before, but it's also something that I would say I'm aware of in that I've gotten better as I've gotten older at realizing what affects what and how I can manage it better. Like
An understanding.
Yeah, and you know, like I've, you know, come to realize how important, you know, getting to the gym a couple times a week is in my mental health and how that makes me feel better, especially working from home full time. I work from home with my wife also works from home now. So, you know, we're kind of in together constantly. So, you know, taking, you know, time to go for a walk or, you know, really just recognize your needs independent of the person that you're sharing space with. It works to make that relationship better because you can be a better partner when you're happy and aware of, you know, what's going on in your own realm and be able to take care of those people too. So I find that a lot of my views and thoughts about mental health are from that nature of, you know, how can I help not only myself be the best partner I can be, but make sure that I'm there for those people in my life also.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that you're understanding it more and kind of working on it. That's awesome. I myself struggle with anxiety and depression, so it's kind of like a little cocktail of every day I'm struggling between overstimulation and understimulation, and you know, music has always helped me, and you know, having my support system and things like that. So
yeah.
it's definitely been a journey, and it's cool to see other people coming out of, you know, their particular instances as well. You know, I think I've came a long way since my journey. You know, probably about 12 years ago, I'm a survivor of suicide attempt myself. So
Glad
that's
you're
why
still here with us.
Thank you. And you know, that's why this is super important to me. So talking about that, going back to the suicide awareness part of it, what would you guys?
I think for me, my knee-jerk reaction would be that, and this is actually something my wife passed along to me that I don't know where she heard it initially, but she said, you know, there are times when people come to you in a moment of crisis, and sometimes they're seeking to, you know, just to be heard, and then there's times they're seeking for advice.
Right.
And I think the first thing I would say is, if you are going through something like that, or you know someone who is be there to listen and understand that no matter how empathetic you are, it's impossible to put yourself in that person's position exactly. And, you know, it doesn't help if people hear, you know, if someone says I'm depressed and someone says, oh, well, you should just go outside or you should just stop being depressed. It doesn't work that way, you know? So I feel like often the advice you want to give may not be as helpful as just listening and being present and, you know, acknowledging that I'm here for you even if we just need to sit in silence, you know?
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that, like 100%. Just listen.
Just listen. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like that's part about the whole education and awareness side of it is, you know, we're encouraging. I mean, everybody should be encouraging to speak up and talk, but also listen. Yeah. You know, and again, like I mentioned before, don't just have that support system. Like, talk to strangers, listen to strangers. You know, you might go to a gas station or a restaurant or something, and everybody likes to make fun of the waitress or the clerk who's talking about their problems at home and they don't want to hear that because they're being served or whatever. Everybody, shuts that off or makes fun of it later or whatever. But at the end of the day, that could be that person reaching out to you desperately, clinging to their own mind. And so it's all about working together and changing that mindset. If somebody's having a problem, it doesn't matter if you know them or not, or if they're serving you a meal or whatever it may be, they're crying out to you. And I feel like if they're crying out to you, they deserve your attention for that moment, regardless what you had to say. Be a good person and just speak up.
Absolutely. I would also say that Good Charlotte's Hold On is probably my personal favorite song about trying to make it through that journey of that struggle. And I mean, the chorus is so simple, just, hold on if you feel like letting go, hold on, it gets better than you know. But I remember seeing them perform that at the Family Arena when I was probably in like 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And Joel and Benji both were crying, at the end of the performance, because that was a real song that was written from a real place. And
right.
Just one of those powerhouse tunes that really bridges that gap of like actually connecting and feeling what the artists are feeling. So that's
so beautiful.
Yeah,
it is a good song.
Incredible tune.
Yeah, I love Good Charlotte. So, and also like I have, I grew up on like some heavier stuff like Avenged Sevenfold too.
Yeah.
And like one of the coolest songs ever was the song that that Good Charlotte did with M Shadows and Sinister Gates. I loved that song.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, there's some great mashups back in the day.
Cool. How do you guys feel about doing a break, music break?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna play Dana Scully.
Yeah.
Right
All right, guys. You're listening to Dana Scully by Ben Diesel.
Ever since I saw you walking in the woods of Oregon, listening to me droning about some Martian man, had the desire for you to lay your hands on me, even if it were 3 miles off sea. Ooh, I could be careful too. Ooh, I'm going out with you. I know that you're a skeptic, but could you please accept that you would be empty for me? From Dana, I want to believe you wax the skin of the smoking man. They'll never love you like I can. I don't care about your microchip.
So that was once again Dana Scully by Ben Diesel. So I have a couple questions about that song. So first I want to know, once again, how did the lyrics come to be? How was the song put together?
Well, it's actually a song by Taylor Swift.
It's actually Taylor Swift.
Really? I just oh, okay. Now you're pulling me. Okay, I got you. Cool.
No, that was honestly just a goofy song that was kind of born out of the kind of shared love of the X-Files.
Okay.
And it just kind of lyrically, it just pieces together a few narrative elements of the show. But I think that Dana Scully was also kind of the beginning of this, like, it reminds me of like I remember reading an interview of with Justin Hawkins from The Darkness,
Mm-hmm.
where he talked about how lyrically they have a lot of fun, but they take their music very seriously, and they put a lot of work and effort into writing these really well structured, good tunes. And I think Dana Scully was kind of an example of that for us, where like we just were having a lot of fun with the lyrics, and the melody was catchy, but the music is really we had an absolute blast and put a lot of effort into that. And I like that juxtaposition of having kind of lighthearted, aloof lyrics that go along with this kind of almost like more dark, sinister Alkaline Trio-ish style pop punk. So. It was a really fun tune to work on, and I think it's the last one we've done a video for, which that's on YouTube. If anyone wants to check that out, it's something we just hobbled together at practice, but we had a lot of fun making it.
Cool. So where did the name Dana Scully come from?
That's who it's about. She's the main character of the X-Files.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mulder.
See, I don't
yeah.
have my X-Files.
Sure, yeah, no.
knowledge. So
So David Duchovny played Mulder, and then Scully was Gillian Anderson's character.
okay.
And she was also Mulder. David Duchovny left in season 8, and then they brought on the cop from Terminator 2. I can't remember his name right now, but he was like the Mulder for a while. So she was the only one that really stayed on the series throughout. But she was a 90s babe, and she had a great character, and it was just kind of one of those goofy songs. And then DK, who also we need to mention that our bass player DK was not able to make it down. He actually
What's up, Dan?
broke his leg skiing in Aspen, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He
Sorry, buddy.
should be back on his feet
Get well soon.
in time for the show, though. But he showed us this song called David Duchovny by, I can't remember her name, but it is the perfect counterpart to Dana Scully, because it's just this girl writing about how much she loves David Duchovny and his character from X-Files. So, that was a fun one. We have a lot of fun playing that tune.
Cool. So speaking of names, whenever I first heard Ben Diesel, obviously the first thing I went to was Vin Diesel. So what came about the name Ben Diesel?
Family's everything.
It's no replacement for family. I wish there was a really cool story for the name. It was so DK, rest up, big guy. He was my manager at Steak and Shake when I was like 16, and he was a couple years older than me, maybe. And anyway, we bonded over a love of pop punk. And I recorded some music with him, but long story short, I moved away, came back to town, and once I came back, I hit him up, and I was like, hey, I got all these songs written, let's, put together a band, like, pop punk band. So we started jamming with our friend Brian, and we, we're kind of putting something together, and he's like, we need a name. And we were just bouncing dumb name ideas back and forth, and I was sitting in a parking lot, and I thought of, Vin Diesel's cousin, Ben Diesel, something like that. And I texted it to him, and he's like, that's so dumb. But then we both, like, that was it. We had a show coming up. We needed to throw something on the flyer, and it's just kind of stuck around.
Hey, that's how names are formed sometimes.
Yeah, not the most thrilling of stories, but
I was enticed. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, I like the name. So how did you guys form? Like, you kind of mentioned, like, the bridge between you guys and The Stars Go Out, since you got members of it. So is that basically the basis of it? Or, like, when did you guys first, meet up and decide, hey, we're going to do this thing?
I feel like we were kind of already chugging along at a pretty good clip, and we basically, like, our drummer, we had to part ways with our current drummer at the time, and we basically, like, hit up Joey that night, and we were like, hey, we obviously want to keep this going. Will you play drums for us? And he was instantly down. And there was, some like transitional time of us getting from our old stuff to writing new stuff together. And we briefly had another guitar player named Matt, who ended up moving to Colorado. So there was a period of time where Ben Diesel was like a 4-piece, but really it just worked out that we knew Joey was a kick-ass drummer. We liked him, we liked his crew, and we wanted to, to make it work. So I'll always be grateful for Joey being, immediately down to make it happen with us. It's a lot to be in two bands that are, pretty active. So
Cool.
This dude is, constantly grinding for us, and we all really, really appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Cool. So how did you guys get into music individually, like your instrument, some of your influences?
So my dad was a drummer. We had a kid at the house. I always loved playing it. And that's when I started learning drums, very, very young age. And, the first, like, I did like, grunt stuff and all that a lot. But then when I first really became super obsessed was when I started listening to like MXPX with Yuri Ruli and stuff like that. So he's a big source of inspiration, but I can't play like him. So I just kind of do. I just do my own thing. But I mean, that's
your own version of it.
Yeah, for sure. Is definitely a hero of mine. Cool. Yeah, and Suicide Machines. I was that Derek Grant. Is that right? I think so.
That's correct.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, Derek's is phenomenal and someone I definitely aspire to be like, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what's carried me along.
And for you?
Yeah. I didn't really grow up around musical instruments, but I did grow up in a pretty musical home, just in that my parents both really enjoyed music, and I was sort of surrounded by it. Some of my earliest memories of music-related things are my dad had one of those big, console-style record players with the 8-track, and listening to Conway Twitty and Leonard Skinner and stuff like that with him. And my mom was more of an oldies, 60s, 70s type, so getting into it that way. And then we lived in a pretty rural area, not unlike this, a little farming town of about 400 people.
Okay.
And there wasn't a lot to do. When I turned 11, I got an acoustic guitar for Christmas, and I pretty much just buried myself in it. And when I was not, doing homework or hanging out at school or whatever, I was at home playing guitar. And that year after that, my parents realized I stuck with it, so they got me an electric guitar, which is probably to this day still my favorite Christmas present I ever got.
Cool.
And within a couple years, I had, I was just using the home printer and every ounce of ink, printing off guitar tabs every night, and just trying to learn stuff. And sometimes you got impatient, and you clicked off 40 or 50 copies, and then you get yelled at. But by the time I was 15, I started playing in a band with a couple older guys from my high school, and I've been pretty much playing shows ever since then. And I really count myself very lucky and grateful to have spent over half my life being involved in music in some capacity, and definitely try my best not to take it for granted.
Oh yeah. I've never taken it for granted. So you guys as a band, what are your musical influences as well as real life motivations to write songs together?
Well, real life motivation to write songs together for sure is so fun, that just love doing it. When I'm writing and coming up with parts, I definitely get, it kind of centers me, I guess. Just kind of you get put in a moment, and you're staying in that moment. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past, and it just it's a really cool headspace to be in when you're writing and creating, especially with your buddies. Your friends and your family and all that. It's a really, really cool thing. Inspirations for me, on the drums, when I'm writing, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about just rad stuff to play that serves a song, and, that's really it. Just try to do something creative and something I hadn't tried before or whatever, and, do something unique or unique-ish. Unique to myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would say for me, musically, my lifelong all-time favorite band is Alkaline Trio. I've probably seen them, 13 or 14 times, and they were definitely one of those bands that inspired me to, pick up a guitar and try to, start creating my own music. I also, outside of the realm of pop punk and stuff, the majority of what I listen to is like hip hop and metal. And I really draw a lot of inspiration from elements of those genres because they seem to be constantly pushing the envelope and going into new spaces, utilizing new technology. And I really, and in that same vein, when it comes to answering the second part of your question, I love writing with these guys and touring with them in any capacity, because as I've grown, I've really tried to surround myself with people who are constantly grinding, and I am inspired by these guys on a regular basis. and how much they do, and then how much energy and time they still have to put into the band stuff on the side. And it makes me want to get better. It makes me want to keep pushing. You know, whenever I see James and Joey working on a new tune or busting out a new guitar part at a show, you know, it's one part like, this is fucking awesome, and the other part's like, oh, now I got to step up my game. Like, something new coming down the pipeline.
That's good though, when you have people that you're surrounded with that are constantly pushing you and just giving you that inspiration to just keep writing.
They all work really good together. Click really well together.
I think being friends definitely helps a lot. You know, there's bands out there that they're like a family and they're like friends, and it usually works out. But there's other bands out there that it's all business. You know, that some of them don't even like each other. You know, they absolutely cannot stand each other, and they would tell you that to your face, and then they, you know, come together and make music. But my thing is bands that do that can be successful, but are they happy?
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got doing it with your friends or your family or whatever, and it makes for a happier band.
It's so fun.
And I mean, of course, a band is always a business, but it's also like a relationship. You know, you got to get along. You got to be able to, you know, water the plant and let it grow. And, you know, so.
Yeah. I mean, and I will say that there is, having been on both sides of the spectrum, because I've been like in the, you know, 5 dudes packed into a Ford Explorer with all of our gear and like not enough money to make it to the next gig. And now, as a result of touring with these guys, I've also been in an RV where we've gone across the country and had a spot to like sleep while we did it.
Right.
And it is so much cooler to be like, have money in your pocket and be comfortable doing it.
Right.
But it makes me have respect all the more for the bands out there grinding right now, like doing it, you know, pinching every penny to make it go. And it sucks when it gets to a point where it's not fun anymore. You know, and I think that's the main thing that we try to keep going for us is like, you know, let's keep the communication open. You know, this is not our job that we're trying to make it as a band, quote unquote, and become, you know, like quit our jobs to do it. But at the same time, it's important to make sure we're all on the same page. We're all still having fun. You know, and we're enjoying what we're doing. And if not, then, you know, let's get it figured out so we can keep it going.
Hell yeah. Okay. So I think we're going to go ahead and go into the second music break. This one's Shower Thoughts, correct? All right. So we're going to listen to Shower Thoughts by Ben Diesel.
Conditioner to work. I'm thinking about how to save the world. I'm wondering how Nick Cage caught a sentence in Con Air. The end game here, it's softer hair. Softer hair. Softer hair. I'm counting to 30, brushing my teeth.
So that was Shower Thoughts from Ben Diesel. You guys want to tell me a little bit about that song? How it came to be and the writing process?
Yeah. So Jason wrote them.
Okay.
Actually, this is maybe the first Ben Diesel song ever, but definitely the first Ben Diesel song since I've been a part of it where Dan wrote some lyrics.
He did. That's true.
So Jason wrote 2 of the verses and Dan took a verse.
Yeah.
Which was really neat.
This song is a pretty on the nose tune. It was I was down for a little staycation at the Lake of the Ozarks with my lady, and I was getting a little toasty and in my shower, and the night before I had watched the movie Con Air. It's a classic. And I found myself wondering the beginning of it, Nick Cage, he catches a sentence for basically defending his wife from being like attacked by these two guys, and the judges, he says he sentences him because he's like a military ranger and he should know better. He's like, his hands are lethal weapons. I couldn't stop thinking about how dumb it was that he like got this sentence for it. And so literally the lyrics are just thoughts I had in the shower, and I organized them into like a rhyming scheme, which is why there's no chorus. It's just ooze. There's there's really no central cohesive thought behind
the ooze are the chorus.
Exactly. But this one was a lot of fun because I think we got to kind of channel like a 90s alt vibe that we're all dig, but we don't normally tap into. So real heavy spacey guitars and just kind of almost like a space hog or like hum feel or something like that. It was a fun one to do, and we lay all these down at Joey's studio, who also like engineers and produces them. So it's pretty badass that he on top of all of the other hats he wears, he's also out there Jerry Finnan for us. So
we're about as DIY as you could possibly get.
That's true.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love meeting bands that do, the DIY thing, as far as like, it doesn't matter if you're like engineering and producing your own music or you're handcrafting your own merch. Like that's always because it kind of shows the dedication that you're putting into it, and just like also, you handcrafted the song and you're handcrafting. It shows how much you really care about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's an obsession for sure.
And I think there's something too about the there's kind of an instant gratification element to it that like I feel like Joey and I both have this shared spirit of like being like doers, and we wanted so as soon as we have a new tune that we're stoked on, like we want to lay it down.
Let's go.
And sometimes when you want to book a studio or find all that stuff and get money together, it's like Joey figured out a way to circumvent all that and just build a studio. So it's I have mad respect for that, and I'm very grateful that we get to utilize that. And
we also hand built the studio too.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane amount of work that went in there.
So going off of the name Shower Thoughts, it just popped a question in my mind. Was what are your guys' shower thoughts?
Typically, if I'm not hammered and thinking about the movie Con Air, I don't know. It's I would like to say that I'm thinking about something worthwhile, but I'm not. I usually throw on a podcast or something. Although it does beg an interesting question. I'll turn it around on you, because I asked James this once when we were touring. Do you have a specific order in which you towel off when you get out of the shower? It's something you never really think about, but like I definitely have an order that I do.
So I try to have as much dried off as I can before I hit the floor.
Yeah, that's dad rule number one.
So usually for me, it starts top to bottom. I'm going hair, shoulders, back, the whole 9 yards, and then I hike each leg up.
There you go.
Try each leg off before I step out. That's kind of how it is for me.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I'm just like dead ass sprint out of the shower and then roll around on the carpet.
Throw himself in the dryer, full force.
Perfect.
Jump on the bed and then roll around on the carpet.
That's James
like
said the same exact answer. It was really weird sharing a hotel with him.
And your shower thoughts?
I'm kind of Dead-Eye Dembski in the shower for sure. Just max space and then take off sprinting and jump on the bed and then roll around on the carpet to dry off.
So you're like a take-home rescue dog.
Oh, for sure.
One thing, we had a friend stay with us for a couple months last year, and he introduced this element that I'd never experienced before. But he would go to Trader Joe's and he would get like a sprig of eucalyptus, and he would like tie it around, like a little twine around it, and hang it from his shower, and it created like the most peaceful, relaxing eucalyptus smell in there. Like now I'm spending like $8 a month, buying eucalyptus, so I can keep that vibe going in my own shower. So
that's
if you want to up your shower game a little bit, it doesn't sound like Joey does.
I might have to try that myself. That sounds fantastic.
But about and then you just watch kind of the water cascade off of it at the end of it, and it's just it's a real peaceful way to start or end your day, however you shower. There's no wrong way.
Cool. Yeah. So what are your guys' plans for like the next, for Ben Diesel in general? Like not just like music release, like what are your guys' goals? Like where do you see Ben Diesel in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'd say absolute global domination is the game plan, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
So like you're piggybacking off of your brother Vin Diesel.
Yes.
Jumping on Fast and Furious and just like taking over the world.
I would definitely like to jump a couple cars from building to building.
Oh yeah.
Just like
There's going to be a Ben Diesel 12 for sure. Fast and the Furious.
Gotcha. So where can? Oh, what's up?
No.
I'll say we do have we have a handful of shows coming up after Notes for Hope, obviously, and then we are back at the Platypus October 16th, and that's in the Grove, and then we'll be doing the benefit show December 9th, and I believe this year we're going to be doing a 2001 tribute set, so all of the songs will be from the year 2001 released that year, and we'll probably throw in some like Jinko Jeans or something like that for it.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll continue trickling out new tunes over the course of the year as well. I got a few on deck. And I would say, hopefully, for me, the plan is I'm so just grateful for where we are right now. Like, if we can keep playing some shows, keep, hitting the road a couple times a year, keep writing new music, like, it's, like I said, it gets harder and harder as you get older and, people's lives, expand and change and things. And I just want to, squeeze every drop we can from it while we can keep it going. So that's what I want for sure.
Hell yeah. And you mentioned some of the shows coming up. So, of course, once again, you guys can catch them at the 8th Annual Notes for Hope, September 9th at 12 p.m. at the Park Hills Underground. It's $12 in advance. It's $10 at the door. It's an all-ages event, and you can catch Ben Diesel, The Doubted, Holding Ground, Skylines The Limit, At My Worst, The Stars Go Out, Degenerate and Deezyman, Y, Juge, The Party Crashers, Kings and Vagabonds, Alex Kasnell and the Board of Directors, and then the founder, Keith Hafner himself.
What's up, Keith?
You guys got any other shows coming up besides the ones you just plugged, or?
Unless I'm missing anything.
You said you had a few on deck, though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where can everybody find your music online?
We're, search Ben Diesel on anywhere you're streaming music, your Amazon, Spotify, all that good stuff. I believe our web handle is benDieselSTL.com.
Right. Cool.
We have a link tree. We don't currently have any merch other than stickers we've been giving out for free, but we do have aspirations for new merch that will be coming soon. So
hell yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Cool. And where can they find you elsewhere online? Do you guys have a website, socials?
We're on Instagram, Facebook at Ben Diesel STL. We're on Threads. I don't know if we have an X. I deleted my Twitter, my personal one, a couple months ago because this place has just turned into a real hellscape.
Yeah.
And then occasionally you can find me making snarky comments on Reddit, but that's not affiliated with the band.
Just have to throw out the disclaimer. Yeah. I gotcha. You guys have any other releases coming out in the future that you know of? Anything?
Rex.
Yeah, we got a new tune coming out hopefully soon. I don't know what the exact date will be. I'm going to say, I'm calling it now by end of September. September.
I think
it'll be out before the end
finishing
of the year,
touches on it next week.
Yeah,
right?
It should be.
Cool.
It's almost done, and then we got a few more that we're getting ready to lay down as well too. So, yeah, keep an eye out. But Rex should be out hopefully by the end of September, I would think.
Hell yeah! So that's soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, this has been Ben Diesel. This is JSTN from the barn.
Diesel.
This is JSTN from the barn, and this was another episode of the Midwest Mixtape Podcast. Stay classy.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks. Get well soon, Dan.
For nights alone, spent searching stars. Dog man stays on my street, not what I would call discreet. I think I saw this episode, so lean presented long ago. Man loses mind and